This episode of the Pu'u Muay Thai Podcast is brought to you by pmtlifestyle.com, Authentic Muay Thai Lifestyle by Pu'u. Definitely go check out the website at pmtlifestyle.com for some awesome lifestyle merchandise. That's for those of you out there either involved in Muay Thai, looking at getting involved in Muay Thai, and embrace a healthier lifestyle to live the life of a Nak Muay. Go check it out. All right, so we have Kru Ed and Zach Flores here, who just competed over at the U.S. Muay Thai Open.
Yes, sir.
How you doing, Kru?
I'm doing well.
Yeah. And
feeling healthy, no injuries.
Yeah.
Do I look like I got in a fight?
No, you don't. No. You look pretty fresh, actually.
Unfortunate.
Yeah, no takeaways, right? So I had just like some basic stuff to go through for you. You know, me and Ed have known each other for like over a decade now.
Yeah.
Right?
It's a long time.
Yeah, I used to work over at, it was Muay Thai School USA in North Hollywood. Zach was wearing those in his championship fight, wearing the shorts. You know,
the lineage.
Yeah, exactly. So I tagged Robin in it and stuff too.
Very cool.
So she saw it. Kind of, you know, going through that too, you know, for you as like a martial artist, you've been doing martial arts since you were a kid, right? You started off with Taekwondo?
I started off with karate when I was 5, but I stopped. So I only did that for a few months. And then I did Taekwondo when I was 14. And I did that for a few years. I competed in the Junior Olympics tournaments. And, you know, I found it to be like something that went hand in hand with my personality. Like the aspect of being a martial artist, not just taking a class, not just a hobby, but like something that I needed. Yeah. I don't know, to function, I guess. Like.
Yeah. And Zach, you know, you wrestled, right?
I didn't wrestle in high school. Huh. I didn't do it for competition. I just wrestled wrestlers. Let's just say that. I had a lot of friends that wanted to throw down, and I just, unfortunately at the time, had too much ego to put on a leotard or anything like that. But
I think I was kind of the same. Like when I was in high school, I'm like, I'm not gonna put that on.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, I missed out for sure because it's a great sport. You know?
Awesome. You know, kind of going through that too, like going like focus and preparation. So, I'll go for Ed first. Like, is there like a secret or message, like an idea, product that you can share here on the Pu'u Muay Thai podcast that helps you focus and tackle like your most vital priorities each day?
Something that I take specifically?
Yeah, or just something you do.
You take Naco, that's what you do.
I do drink a lot of energy drinks, but I'm, you know, like, to be honest, is like I try to eat very healthy. I try to sleep at least 8 to 9 hours. And
that's key.
Yeah, and I you know, like the basic recovery stuff that are tried and true, right?
He won't say it, but he's a pro home cook.
Oh, and I cook a lot. I cook a lot at home. I don't eat out too much. I cook a lot at home. That way I know what's going in my body, how much protein I'm taking, how much carbs I'm taking. It really helps me like stay healthy, maintain my weight, and be comfortable.
Well, that's like the recovery. A lot of people, you know, they think, you know, diet, exercise, but then recovery. They miss that a lot of times.
100%.
Oh, yeah.
All right? So it's like, hey, you can be eating great, you can be training hard, but if your recovery sucks, which means your sleep, you're going to suffer a bit.
Yeah. I'm a big believer in consistency over intensity.
Yeah.
You know, some people will go intense for a couple of weeks, and then because they don't focus on recovery, they can't be consistent.
They disappear too. Yeah. And then they'll come back a few months later. It's like you lost all your progress.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? So, I mean, same thing for you, Zach. Like, same question. Is there a secret or message, idea, like a product that you can share with the podcast or something for you that
helps keep me focused?
Yeah, helps you tackle your most vital priorities each day.
I think the biggest thing is having routine, because I really believe in there being like a willpower meter. If you use your willpower to make stupid decisions or just to make simple ones that you could have just maybe set up already pre-organized to get done throughout the day, then it'd be a lot easier to finish the harder tasks, you know. So I feel like my morning routines make things pretty simple.
Awesome.
You know.
Yeah, definitely routine is key.
Yeah.
You know, kind of going into that too, the next part of like this focus preparation is, you know, we talked about a little bit about this, like daily habits, right? So what is daily habit that you think that contributes to success, for what you're doing? So like in Muay Thai and coaching for Kru Ed, what do you think is like one of those daily habits that you have that helps with that?
This was a tricky one. So it's usually not something that's like my personality per se, but I've had a lot of practice with, which is planning. Planning. Think about like your like day, like Batman. Like he's. I know this is kind of nerdy, but he's just a human, and a lot of times he's going up against these superpowered beings. So what gives him the edge is he's able to plan ahead, prepare himself for these beings, and then afterwards he has kind of all the scenarios kind of covered. And if there's like a surprise, then what I'm really good at is spontaneity. So I like to improvise a lot. I improvise at the moment, at the point where like things have to happen. If they're not happening for some reason, I can improvise. Improvise and adjust. And I think with those two things, planning to cover all my bases, but always expect to be surprised, it allows me a lot of freedom to more or less like not be afraid to make mistakes.
Yeah. So I want to make sure that's closed out. Zach, same thing for you. What is one of your like daily habits you strongly believe contributes to like success or for what you're doing?
I would say, well, just to even touch on what Kru Ed said, when you fail to plan, you plan to fail. I think that's a big thing. Having like a team behind me that really kind of set a vision for me, like a pathway, helped a lot for me to know what I want to plan and do. And then in that, just waking up every day, even if it's a rough day to wake up, just to be grateful and honestly setting my mind towards what I want versus letting the day kind of control me. I think like this fight game is a lot more mental, than people take for granted.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people don't know how to like approach the mental side.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, I didn't know when I first started, right?
Yeah.
It's like it takes time. Next, I want to go over into like overcoming obstacles. It's something that martial artists are good at. Go first with Kru Ed. Tell us about a challenging time or situation that could have devastated or even ruined what you do, but you persisted, you overcame, right? You made tough decisions, you adapted, you're flexible. And now that is like, a painful memory, it serves as an invaluable learning experience. What would that be?
I guess I can relate to a lot of people in this situation because COVID affected us as martial artists a lot, right? My Muay Thai School USA closed. I was more or less working, but also, I have a wife and a kid, so, it's like a very stressful situation. And, those 2 weeks turn into 2 months, and those 2 months turn into 6 months, and you're just like, there's no light at the end of that tunnel. So, we made the best decision we could for our family at the time, which was to move. And we moved, and we tried to make something happen in Europe, and then we ended up back here, Unfortunately for us, you were still running, and,
Yeah, we were talking.
And I've been in the community, and I've been very respectful, and I've created all these connections with friends that I've trained with, from sparring partners to coaches to just teammates to fighters that I knew, and they came clutch, like not to expect it, not to like have these friends for any reason other than like that they were like a pivotal part of my life at certain points. And I always treated them with respect, and I felt that they treated me with respect. I kept them in the loop of contact, and you were one of those people, and you hit me up, and we were in a very similar situation, which was very like bizarre, right?
Yeah.
Both in Europe in the same time zone.
both sitting there freezing our butts off.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's like two brown guys in Europe going there when the sun's gonna come out, man.
Shadow boxing in the snow.
Yeah, exactly. Definitely a trying time. Before I go into Zach, somebody said, "Show me a nasty question mark kick right now." It won't be a question mark kick, but if you go to our TikTok or Instagram, you can see Zach here throwing a nasty head kick at somebody, followed up with some devastating knees. So you can go check that out. Just click it right there on our TikTok. If you're listening to this later, you can go check it out on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram at Pu'u Muay Thai. So Zach, let's go into you, overcoming obstacles. Tell us about a challenging time or situation that could have devastated or even ruined what you do. But you persisted, made tough decisions, adapted, overcame, and now it's like a painful memory. It serves as like an invaluable experience.
Yeah, I would say for persistence, it really takes a team. Even like Kru was saying, like the people that you connect with, they're the ones that are going to really be playing a part in helping you through those times. Like for myself, even though I had to make the decision, it's my decision to make, not theirs, they definitely made me feel that safety and support into something that I could step into, because there was a time when I was just thinking, okay, do I want to fight or do I want to, build this business? And I just remember I had a mentor ask me one time, he was like, if your life ended in 5 years, what would you want to make sure that you do? And it wasn't build a business, because that takes a long time, But I was like, I want to get into some fights, for whatever reason. I mean, that's a whole nother story, but I wanted to fight, and I felt like I had the right team behind me. So when they gave me the confidence to step in, I was like, okay, now I just need to believe in myself at that point. And once I got that going, the time just came and we executed.
So that decision of like going from business stuff to like focus on martial arts and competition, yeah?
Yeah, because overall in the end, like the business was to sustain my life, but what is your life if it's not like a quality life? And I felt like martial arts made my life a quality life, and I love it. So I'm like, let me do what I love, because this I could do forever,
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
With that too, it kind of goes overcoming those. You learn a lot of different skills, right?
Yeah.
So let's go into personal mastery, right? So what is the most critical skill? We'll start with Kru Ed. That you think like like business owners need to master in order to thrive today? Like it can even be martial artists too. What are one of those critical skills you think people need? Maybe something that they develop here in martial arts that like applies outside.
Oh man, that's a good question. I think as someone who's had a business, as someone who's worked in many businesses, as a martial artist as well, you gotta have honesty. Like I think honesty is a key component that people like kind of like gravitate towards. Like even if something doesn't feel right, like because you have to be honest with yourself. Is it that something doesn't feel right because it's something that you maybe weren't able to do when you were younger, like something that you weren't able to approach it, or do you have to be honest to like to the clients and what they want, and you just help them out find that, right? So just being honest, not letting your emotions overtake your honesty, like corrupt the stable of, like, for example, being a salesman. Like I don't necessarily consider myself a salesman, but like when I see someone that wants to try martial art and they're kind of not they're not sure if they want to try or not, they're like, why should I do this, why shouldn't I can 100% tell them that it's a life changer. So I can always honestly tell them that it's the right decision to make.
It's not like it's not a sale. It's just the truth.
100%.
Yeah. So definitely, and I think that goes into like candor and stuff like that too.
Yeah.
Zach, same thing for you. What do you think was like a critical skill for people, like businesses or just martial artists, that something that they can develop and they need to master in order to thrive?
I think even just to add on top of the truth side of things, because that builds integrity. But with your integrity, you have to do something with it, because integrity just means like, you have a foundation that you could fall upon, which is the fact that you're honest. Like that will stay the same. Truth never changes, right? But when it comes to, for something that I've seen change my life a lot as of the recent years, would be probably faith. It doesn't have to be like, I don't know what you believe in. That doesn't matter as much as what you're putting your faith into. And I feel like when you have like the honest truth of who you are and what you are figuring out in your life that you desire, then you can take faith towards those bigger dreams, because if you don't have faith, then honestly it's just hard. It's hard to trust yourself. It's hard to trust when there's no faith. It's also hard to trust when there's no honesty. So if there's any dishonesty with yourself, how are you going to trust yourself to push your limits every single time? So I think faith is a big one for me.
Awesome. Well, having faith in yourself,
Yeah.
right? Because that's like part of what everything is. Like anything you do, you have to have faith in yourself and trust in yourself, right?
100%. Faith over fear, right?
Yeah, that's a good one. Good saying.
That's a really good one.
That's why I always wear that shirt.
Yeah. Some people read that shirt and they say, "Oh, faith divided by fear."
Really?
Yeah. Just 'cause oh, man.
No, you're like, no, wrong.
Yeah.
We'll go into Ed on this one. Some lessons learned. Like, tell me, like, share with us, like, one of the most influential lessons you've ever learned from, maybe one of your mentors, and how it helped you become the person, martial artist you are today.
One of the big lessons is, be confident. That was one thing that, like, I always struggled with. Like, I trained a lot, and there's nothing wrong with my training ethic. I could train 7 days a week, twice a day, 4 hours at each training session, no problem. I could do this. But that training, a lot of times it's like you're not confident with taking a rest. You're not confident with performing. You're not confident. It's to mask the confidence, and you think it's going to add on to it, but a lot of times it doesn't. It just makes you train more and more and more.
100%.
Until your body breaks down and you have a reason to, to not perform to your best.
You work yourself sick.
Yeah, exactly. 100%.
Straight up. So. Yeah, whether it's injury or illness or, can't sleep, cramping, overtraining injuries, things like that too.
So I remember one of my trainers telling me, like, hey, take a day off. You got this.
Who was it?
It was
He who shall not be named.
Yeah, I won't drop names.
Okay.
But it was one of my old trainers at Muay Thai School USA.
Yeah.
I had 3, so you can decide which one of those it
Yeah.
was.
33% chance of getting right.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that made a big. Oh, and one more thing. Well, what was like very beautiful, like going around. It's like so. One of my trainers, Kru Dan and Kru Roy, like those 2 trainers. I spoke to him with Robin not too long ago. Robin's the owner of Muay Thai School USA. So I speak to Robin, and in my first fight, I had no confidence. Like, I was just doing it for the honor of the gym, I remember. Because,
all right, I'm going to get in there. I know the feeling.
Because it was a tumultuous time. Boren had just left. Knockweed had just left. It was a time of change, and, like, the energy was very, like, low. And I remember coming to the gym and training and being like, that's not the Muay Thai School USA I've been training in.
Yeah.
So I remember, like, one of my trainers said, hey, you got to fight. You got to fight Book. Do you want to do it? And I was like, yeah, let's do it. But honestly, I thought, and I hate to say this because I have a lot of pride when it comes to this stuff, but I thought my first fight was going to get knocked out, sparked completely. And then so I go in the ring and I kicked the guy. With the first kick, I was like, I knew I was going to win because I had done martial arts growing up, so I knew that feeling as a kid. It registered, so it didn't matter how how I felt before that, but after that kick, I was like,
your confidence just went up.
Yeah, like I've done this many times. I'm not worried about this anymore.
Yeah.
After that, like my confidence kept going up and up and up, and I kept fighting, right? But I talked to Robin, going back to this, I talked to Robin not too recently when we had lunch, maybe 2 months ago. And I remember telling her this story, how unconfident I was. And she was like, really? Roy and Dan, they were like, you're going to fight for them. And they're like, it was like their first like official, like them being in charge of the gym. And you're their first fighter coming out of there. And they were so confident. They guaranteed me that you were going to win. And no doubt, like, they were so confident that I was leaps and bounds about, like, they didn't care about my opponent. They
was like, no, he's going to win. Yeah.
Like, but like going into that, I really thought I was going to get knocked out, and then afterwards, that really did help me, like, be able to, like, control my feelings and kind of acceptance of, like, you can't really anticipate what's going to happen in the future. You can just prepare yourself, be confident going in, and just just do it like you're sparring. Like do it like do it like you're like when you train, you have fun. Like you want to go in that ring. Like it's not like you're not a sacrificial lamb. You're going, and it doesn't matter who you fight, right? Like it's like the better the challenge, the better the glory, right? So it just it all really helped me come out of that like very unconfident place I was in.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know.
I mean, that's definitely a big lesson.
Yes.
Right. In believing in yourself.
I want to touch on that body kick real quick. One reason, a little fun backstory, a big reason why I actually stayed at this gym. I tried a couple different gyms. I stayed at this gym, one, because of the community, two, because I held pads for this guy, and nobody else has kicked this hard. Yeah, like I've held for plenty of heavier people. He's in a lighter weight class than me, and I'm like, man, his kicks are still extremely hard. So, yeah, I'm sure when he felt that first body kick and he knew he had it, he tasted blood, so... He got that win.
Not only that, we were talking before you showed up. He's putting on some weight, so get ready. It's going to be kicking harder.
Yeah. Trying to get that weight.
Oh, man.
He's trying to get that pad holder body, but like the fit pad holder body, not the fat one.
Yeah. That's funny.
So Zach, same thing for you, man. Like, tell us about an influential lesson you learned from one of your mentors and how it helped you become the person, martial artist you are today.
Oh, man. I mean, shoot. Because I've gone through a lot of transformation within the past 3 years, and that's a whole other thing. But I'd say when I started putting my thoughts, my transformation in my mind to action is when I joined the gym. And I would say really a big influence in my life as a martial artist was just honestly spending time with the coaches. Because the biggest thing is that they believe in you, and all it takes for them to really like curate that belief is you believing in yourself and showing up. That's like the first part. So I think the biggest thing I would say is the simplicity and showing up. There was for probably a long period of time where I just wouldn't show up at the gym, or I'd be late. I wouldn't come in at the time I said I would. And then I would get a simple message from Kru Ed. It'd just say, "Where you at?" Like, not even spelled correctly, just "Where you at?" And there was no, like, at the time, like, you overthink. You're like, oh, man, maybe I should have this as an excuse, or maybe like, this is why I shouldn't be coming in, or whatever. You come up with excuses. You start negotiating. But the simple "Where you at?" I was just like, he's right. Where am I at? Like, I should be there right now, you know? And I just started showing up more consistently and started, doing the wax on, wax off, started cleaning the gym. And it just showed that the power of showing up can really take you a lot further than you think. So be consistent with that.
For sure. And I remember that because I remember having a phone call with you about it. We talked for a while about it. I'm like, get your butt in there, dude.
Yeah.
So
100%. He sent quite a few messages before I responded to the first one. So
it took a while. No, we had a whole team meeting about you.
Oh yeah.
We had a whole team meeting about Zach, about how we needed.
I didn't know this. Now I'm finding out.
Yeah, but it's like that's the reality. Is like we take this stuff seriously for you guys. It's like had that not happened, maybe you wouldn't be training anymore.
For sure. Yeah. No, absolutely.
So it's something that's important. We take it's part of like coaching.
Yeah.
Is doing that stuff too. So that's awesome, man. Well, kind of breaking down the recipe for success. We all know that building and scaling anything is hard work, right? Building your body, business, family, friend network, going to a new town, new city, new country, right? But when we have the right strategy, the right recipe to follow, the action steps can become more like ingredients, like what other things, like, we talk about consistency, showing up, adaptability, perseverance, and just showing up, right?
Yeah.
So these different things can be added, like, to your goal. Like, what are these steps that we can do to get to there, right? It's like, for you, it's like making sure you just showed up,
right? Like,
everything else is gonna fall into place. Going like one ingredient at a time, and the end result is like having that goal or that project, whatever it is you're working on. It becomes systematic. It's predictable. It's repeatable, right? You can repeat these results. The person, along with like whatever it is, the project that they're doing, it can produce the same results for like other students time and time again, right? Other people. So I want to kind of ask you guys to break down your recipe of success and the ingredients that helped you along your path. I know we kind of touched on some of them. Kru Ed, for you, if there was a magic reset button as it relates to starting your journey in martial arts, what system, or knowing what you would be doing what you are now, what system or method would you go back and put into place sooner rather than later?
I would. This is a big one. I think for me, I would remove the stubbornness.
Like what do you mean?
I was very easy to teach in the sense that like you told me what to do, I would do it, of course. But also like I think there was also like a little bit of ego and pride that sometimes got involved in my growth.
Yeah.
And I think if I would have had less of that, my growth would have been quicker.
Oh.
100%.
Okay.
Yeah. Fortunately, I found a way to stick to what I was doing. Muay Thai, Taekwondo, boxing, judo, whatever it was, I stuck to it long enough to have some success in every sport.
Yeah.
Right? But I know for a fact that I could have been, if I was a little less stubborn, and also I was very athletic growing up too. So
You're still athletic, son. What are you talking about? Dude, this guy's shredded.
He said what?
Yeah.
a few less injuries,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You know, that Father Time really teaches you like, hey, you know, your athleticism will go down if you get injured. So you got to make sure you learn how to be disciplined in your training and do everything like technically correct, because it makes everything easier. Then you can apply your athleticism and get a lot more out of it in longer periods of time. But yeah, so I would say like being more open-minded to a lot of the instructors that try to help me. This is one. And also finding someone that really cares about like your success, like not just like a mentor and instructor that really cares about what they do, but they really care about their students as well, because when you have that, then you have a team.
Yeah.
You develop a team.
Yeah, you have your circle of people that you lean on for like guidance, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's like, oh, I don't know what to do. Oh, dude, try this. Did you think? Oh no, I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
Right. So Zach, I guess same thing for you. You know, if there was a magic reset button, as it relates to your journey, whatever it is, you know, what would you go back and put into place sooner?
I would say learning about what imposter syndrome is.
Oh, who introduced you to that?
Kru Jonathan. Herself.
So
Yeah.
it was me. Okay, I wasn't sure. I genuinely was curious.
Well, actually, to be completely transparent, I first learned about it hearing Robert Downey Jr. talk about it.
No way.
That was like the very first time I heard about it, and I'm
Robert
like,
Downey?
yeah, because he went through something very similar, and then I can't believe they're gonna hate me for this. But I'm blanking out on the guy who gave him the opportunity to get into the acting positions he has now. Obviously now he's Iron Man, you know, big position.
Yeah, he struggled with all the drugs and stuff.
Yeah, but he got catapulted because somebody, like you said, really believed in his success and told him about imposter syndrome. Like, no, you're not that guy. And but I would say when I started to really look into it was when I was called out on it, which was by Kru Jonathan. Yeah, I was called out on it. I'm like, all right, maybe I should look into this more. And just not really believing who I can be, and just believing that, you know, I am my mistakes. That's completely wrong. I would say learning about that and being self-aware about that sooner would have changed a lot. And then after that, just betting on yourself. Like, truly, when you step into something, not to be like even I feel like it comes along with fighting too, right?
Yeah.
Like when you throw a kick, you can't be like, oh, okay, maybe I'll land it. Hopefully it lands on the ribs. No, you got...
Right now's not the time.
Yeah, exactly,
you know, it's just like, go.
Yeah, exactly. If your coach is also just like, hey, right body kick, and you're just like, oh, but it's not the time. Like, you have to just listen. You bet on yourself, bet on your speed, your power.
Coach Ryan, shout out to Coach Ryan.
Oh, let's go.
Always said, dope. I didn't know Kru Ed did judo. I knew I liked him.
Yeah, man. The freaking Ogoshis. Yeah, we got those down.
Yeah.
Dude.
Well, I mean, the imposter syndrome is like, I didn't know what the term was, and that's why I share it with people. Because it's like, I had it.
Yeah.
Right? I had it a lot growing up. And that comes into confidence, too.
100%.
Right? In the betting on yourself, like, people need it. Like, the crabs in the pot syndrome. Like, people want to pull you down, right?
Yep.
It is normal. So, going back to Kru Ed on this, too, what's one strategy or recipe that if people and their teams could do consistently and probably every day, would probably compound into bigger wins for them and their team?
What do you mean? What's the question?
So you think is there something that someone can do, like a little piece of that recipe of success that teams could do that they could apply like today? Like someone you're like, hey, if you start applying this today, it's gonna compound into a bigger win.
Oh, there's such a this is my easy question here. My easy answer, is positivity.
Yeah.
It's positivity because, you know, it's a lot of sports. It's like everyone trains hard.
Yeah.
You know, if you're competing against someone, guess what? They're probably training hard. You're training hard, right? But a lot of times it's like you said, that imposter syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
Like because I recognize that in myself, right?
Yeah.
So if I saw it on someone else that I was competing against, oh man,
you're
I was
done.
like, I see that because I had that. So
Yeah.
like, I would say make sure there's a lot of positivity because, well, like I said, everyone's training hard. You don't know if you don't know your opponent, they can be much more experienced, much more skill, but then it gives you the window to much more glory, like I said. So you got to see it in many perspectives. If you're fighting someone coming up, then you get to like use all the techniques that you may be like not able to use against that top tier guy, right? Make your highlight reel. Like we know a few people that they make their highlight reel that way. So it's like you have to like have someone that reminds you like, hey man, you got this, or hey girl, you got this, like we're on your side. We're here because we believe in you, right?
Yeah.
And when someone reminds you of that, like man, you're gonna have a lot of success. That's why like the team leader, the team coach, if you see them like in basketball, like when they're going in the fourth quarter and it's like a close game, they rally everyone up. They give them a strategy, but like at a point in time where there's a strategy and now there's like a pep talk. Hey guys, you gotta like pull this out.
Like we can do this.
Yeah, we can do this kind of thing.
As long as you do X, Y, Z, we're there.
But that's all based on like on the positivity that you've been feeding people. Like if you're feeding people like negativity all the time, like, oh, you're not good enough. Come on, hey, fucking kick that shit harder. You fucking suck. Like, oh, sorry.
Yeah,
Like,
but you could cuss.
like,
Yeah, that's fine.
If you're constantly, and I'm not saying like there's a difference between like knowing your fighter and coaching them appropriately to like just utilizing like trying to belittle someone, and then like afterwards you try to be positive, and they're gonna be like, "What the hell?" Like, like it's not gonna take. You gotta like really like.
You have to embody it.
Yeah, you gotta embody. You gotta back them up.
And that I had here on the podcast Mark Peasy from Australia, trained multiple world champions, kickboxing and Muay Thai. Been doing this a very long time. We had an interview here. We had him here on the podcast, and he said positivity is the number one thing that I have for my team. If you walk in the door and they're not able to fix it and keep at the door, I tell them to leave. And come back the next day when you're feeling better, because he said that was like the number one drag down for his team that he saw over the years. He's been doing it for like 35 years, right?
Yeah.
So he has somebody fighting this weekend actually against Paul Benaziak. I think his name's Jaden. I think it's Inald. I hope I'm not pronouncing it correctly.
Where is he fighting out of?
It's gonna be in Australia, okay. I believe. Australia or Thailand. I don't know. I'm pretty sure it's in Australia. Yeah. But I saw Jaden fight at the Queen's Cup, and that's like where I've been talking to Mark Peace on Instagram since COVID, because we're all shut down.
Yeah.
And then we finally met in person. I didn't know he was there. I just happened to be there, and he's like, hey Pu'u. I was like, oh shit, like look who it is, and we just ended up talking. And he has friends in the area, so he's like, I'm actually gonna be out in your neck of the woods, next year. So that's what we ended up doing podcasts. But positivity was the big thing for him. Yeah. Zach, same thing. What's something that they can do that consistently apply every day that's part of that recipe that would compound into big wins?
I would just have to add on to that, because I think positivity is for sure like numero uno, because even one of my favorite quotes it's from Albert Einstein. It's just your attitude is your altitude. So how high you can go is dependent on your attitude. If your attitude sucks, you're always going to be low, And I think that's such a good point to make sure that you have to bring in people that also can bring that, because it brings up the altitude of the whole atmosphere, the room, the people you're training with. And so then to add on to that, I would just say initiative. Take initiative. Because a lot of the times people wait for things to happen, but I think we just have a lot of opportunity as humans to make things happen. So with the positivity, don't wait for coach to be positive. Don't wait for a crew to be positive. Be the one to initiate that and change the atmosphere.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I believe in that kind of stuff as well. Yeah, because going through is like gratitude stuff really helps foster that as well. Going through, let's fast forward a little bit. So let's say that you're looking back. Let's say we're a year ahead from now. So we're in December 2024. So you're looking back in decisions you're considering right now. And imagine the people you work with today, like everybody you're working with around you, exceed your highest expectations. Exceed it. What recipe or strategy did they apply that delivered the most value to what it is that you're doing that contributed to that success? We'll start with Zach first in this one.
Basically, how would the team be involved?
Yeah, no, just like I want you to imagine that. What are those decisions that you made that got you to that? Like, what are the decisions you're thinking about right now? Like, what does that look like a year from now?
I hear what you're saying. It looks like me just showing up for myself every day, every morning. I think that's a big one because it's like you have to end your nights and begin your mornings with just what you want and you have in mind. I think the biggest distraction to a destination is not exactly knowing what it is or getting distracted by other things that you also drive by, because I posted something recently which I thought was so funny. It was like a salute to all the Nakmois that no longer train, and it's like they're the guys who found a girlfriend, they're the guys who found a full-time job. It's like, I think you can still fit this in. I mean, I don't care how busy you are, you're not busy until you have a business and kids, if you don't have that,
you still gotta figure out where to get it in.
Yeah, and you can leverage your time, you can get babysitters, you can have people run your business as well, stuff like that, have family, and you can just really prioritize what you want as long as you know what you want. So I think that really every morning and night, which I'm still working on really, just to know what it is that I desire. And if I know what that is, then I can remind myself why I'm doing it, because having a strong why is super important. And just holding on to that why as tight as I can. And I just know that a year from now, I'll be really proud of myself for doing that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, so Kru Ed, same question. Fast forward a year from now, the decisions you're thinking about and stuff like that too. What are the, what recipe or strategy do you consistently apply over this next year that contribute to the success next year?
It's discipline, consistency, and planning. I think with those three, discipline, obviously discipline to follow through what you're planning, taking your time to plan. That takes a while, but like it's pivotal to building new habits. Maybe like if you want to reach a new goal, you develop some new habits and then just go for it. Be persistent. Coach Zach was saying. He was saying I'm married. I have a daughter as well, and I don't have as much time to myself, but to train is like something I've been doing since I was 14, and then even before that, but to train in a martial art, it's something I've always done, even at times where I was extremely busy, where I was working 10-hour days and I only had 45 minutes to myself. I train those 45 minutes and get it in. Even if I do it for 3 times a week, it's just priorities change, goals change, but I still get that training in, and that's an investment in myself, because an investment that when I do have time, when things do change, if I choose them to change, I'm not starting from zero. I'm starting from consistency, So I would say from a year from now, I think planning, and staying consistent.
Everything we're talking about, right?
100%.
Good. So let's say that you guys are standing in front of a room of martial artists or friends, people that maybe business owners and stuff like that too, that are starting on their journey, and they're battling their way through fears, worries, it's imposter syndrome, doubts, struggles, just kind of finding their footing about what they're going to do. What are 2 or 3 strategies you'd recommend they focus on to best ensure success? Zach, you're smiling, so I'm going with you. Just 2 or 3, boom, right off the hip.
2 or 3. I mean, honestly, I'm just thinking right away. I just smile because, we need to get sponsored by these guys. Just do it. You just have to. It doesn't matter. To be honest, nobody cares about what you think or what your decisions are. In the long run, you might be thinking, what do my parents think? What do my friends think? In the end, nobody cares as much as you. It's your life, and I really think that if you bet on yourself and just do what you feel like is good, then if you make a mistake and it ends up being the wrong thing, then just adjust. I think having the ability to be adaptable is super key. So you don't have to adapt to anything if you're doing the same thing the whole time. And I'll even end on this. The comfort zone, it's a nice place. We like the comfort zone, but nobody grew there.
No.
Yeah, the comfort zone is that couch. The comfort zone are those potato chips. You're not going to grow with that. I just think that if you want to stay where you are, then great. If that's your desire, awesome. But don't be complaining about your life if you're choosing the comfort zone every time.
Yeah.
Every time you step out of that, you grow. It's it's awesome, you know. And like Kru Ed even said, like the bigger the opponent, the bigger the glory. So it's like, man, I get to really step out of my comfort zone and take the risk of getting knocked out. That's awesome. You know, that's awesome. I'm taking that risk. I'm facing that, because what is fearlessness without facing your fear? You know, it's untested. You can't say you're fearless if you've never faced any fears before, you know, or else all babies are fearless, you know. In a way they are, you know, they'll touch the hot stove and they learn, oh, that hurts. Like, I'm not going to touch that anymore. But I think facing your fears and just doing it is going to take you a lot further than you think.
For sure. Kru Ed, same question. You know, what are those 2 or 3 strategies you'd recommend they focus on to best show success?
If you're brand new, if you have a mentor, ask them like how best to approach your goals. In that, if you don't have goals, maybe think of some goals, right? Like, because sometimes I have people, they come in, and I kid you not, I'll ask them like, so how did you hear about us? And they'll be like, I don't know, I just walked down the street. I'm like, perfect, that's awesome. So have you done any martial arts? No. Sorry, are you excited to start training here? And they're like, I don't know, like it's just, like they just don't, like they just came in because
they need direction.
They were asking for that direction. Yeah. So like, instead of being told that direction, because it's not so rewarding when you're being told, right? It's just take a minute and be like, hey, I want to try this martial art because, you know, whatever your reason is, and then let your instructors know. And if you have a good community and a good instructor, they do their best to make sure you reach that goal. Of course, you got to put in your work, your share of the work, which is the majority of it. But we're going to make sure that we help you get there. Yeah.
Well, you know, and for anybody out there who's listening too, if you don't have a mentor, if you're thinking, oh, I don't have a mentor, find one. You know, it's one of those things. It's worth paying if you have to pay to get it. Like if you save your pennies, figure it out, right? Kind of go into the next thing too. It's one of my favorite parts is, you know, tell me about what happened. What was it, 2 weeks ago now? It was a week and a half?
Yeah, it's only 2
weeks.
A week and a half.
Yeah, I think a week and a half.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we just competed for their kids.
You compete. Oh,
yeah, we had the kids.
Yeah,
it was
on
a week.
Sunday.
Yeah.
It's almost been a week. That was Sunday. And then I had my finals for the belt also the prior Sunday.
Yeah, at the U.S. Muay Thai Open Fall 2023.
It's a good time.
Yeah, so tell me, that was your first tournament experience. And like Kru Ed, you know, you've been to tournaments before.
I have.
But Zach, like, is that what you expected? Like when you showed up there, do you think that the energy was going to be like that?
I would say I was actually expecting a little more intensity, in the sense that I'm surprised not more people mean mugged me. You know, I was actually kind of hoping for that. You know,
why? Wait, hoping for what?
I don't know. I like that.
Do you need to hate me? You don't need to hate people to fight them, man.
You'll get it.
I think because I was pretty nice. Like, I mean, for anybody who was there, I think they'd like to say that every time I looked at them, whether they had gloves on and a competitor shirt or not, I like smiled at them. I said hello. I know I tried not to get too friendly because I was like, oh, maybe I shouldn't like.
Maybe I'm gonna fight these people.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it was funny. Even one guy who I made pretty good friends with, his name was Ronan. Even talking with him, I'm like, he looks like he could be in my weight.
No, you were going to that weight class.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, I could be fighting him, but he was one weight class lower, so I'm gonna be going there next. So hey, watch out. All that to say, I would say when I got there, it was nice because I had the experience of Kru Ed to kind of guide me. So there was no part of me that felt like, oh, I'm going to be out of the loop. And we've talked plenty about how fighters just need to be adaptable, whether in the ring or outside of the ring. So I'm like, whatever happens, happens. And that's an attitude I really appreciate about Kru Ed, is that he has this it is what it is attitude, and then you just move on. You just make a decision based off that. Because if you can't change the circumstance, the only thing you can change is your attitude towards the circumstance.
100%.
And that's how you win.
100%. So, you know, Ed, I saw the fights, but you were there ringside. So, C class, 165-pound division. We're supposed to have one more pull-out injury. We have Zach. So we have, you know, all in on Zach, right?
Yeah.
So, first fight comes up. How'd the first fight go?
So, you know, like I spent the night researching these guys when I saw the brackets were done. And, you know, like they had put Zach in the wrong bracket, so they took him out of that bracket and they re-put him in brackets. So we got a bunch of new guys, right? So that Thursday night, I'm researching his opponents, right? His first guy he's going up against, he gets, we have no information. There's nothing on him. So I'm like, whatever, it's all right. We're just going to, like in every fight, we're just going to focus on us, right? Focus on what we've been working on, and then apply it in that first fight. And we had a good strategy. We had some good sayings, some stuff that I had heard other coaches say that I really did appreciate. And we used them as mantras to go into that first fight. That first fight starts, right? We're the first fight, like, so
of the tournament.
Yeah,
the whole tournament.
So we weigh in, and then I'm like, all right, we got to go wrap your hands. Even the guy's like, what are you doing? Why are you trying to wrap his hands? I'm like, we're the first fight. It's gonna go by like this, you know.
Yeah. We got there early, and they were like, "You're here a little early." I'm like, "Well, yeah, we're fighting."
We weren't early enough.
Yeah, exactly.
So by the time Zach got a nice sweat, he had his hands wrapped. We were up. So as I thought, we're gonna go fast. Which was kind of nice at the end of the day. But so we go, and we have our game plan, what we've been working on. Zach goes in that fight. He executes that game plan like that first round was like, oh, you got this. Like he landed so many kicks to the body, to the legs, even a few to the head, some teeps, and then a little bit of hands as well. So this guy's taking a lot of damage, it's a kind of body damage that like kind of shuts your body down and makes you hesitate to throw the strike. So this guy's falling behind on points. He's trying to knock out Zach, but now he's gotten hit too many times, so he's hesitating every time. So Zach's got the timing, and Zach just goes cruise control. He hurts him. He could have taken that guy out, to be honest, but it was like Zach's first tournament experience.
First full contact fight.
Yeah, first full contact fight.
That's true.
So there's a lot to overcome there, right? Yeah. So he lets this guy off the hook. We talked about it a little bit afterwards, but more or less, very proud of him because the way he executed that fight was he went in that first fight, 3 rounds of experience, took no damage. His shins were good, hands were good. And then, where I'm like, congratulations, Zach, that was great, excellent game plan. And then 45 minutes later, we're going to fight the second guy.
Yeah.
Okay? So what I know about the second guy, because I did research him on Thursday night, I found his name, I researched him. I'm like, oh yeah, he looks good on the pads. He's smooth. Smooth. Yeah. Smooth guys are gonna throw combinations. They're gonna, they're not gonna hesitate to do their technique. Whether it's
there's not gonna be that delay.
Whether it's hard or not, it's gonna be nice and fluid, right? So that's what I was game planning for Zach. I'm like, hey, we're gonna intercept him with that head kick. If he throws multiple combinations, you're gonna catch him, right? You're going to use your teeps to interrupt him coming in because you're going to have a little bit of reach on him. And if he wants to box first, which it looked like he wanted to from the pad work that I saw, and I wasn't very impressed with the kicks, to be honest. No offense to the guy. It's, everyone grows. You can see other people are like very good at the clinch, very good at coming forward.
They have their strong suits,
I knew what that guy looked like, what he was good at, right? So
what was he good at?
Coming forward, good hand combinations, movement, and I knew that's what he was going to try to execute to get the best results, right? At least what I thought it was, and at the end of the day, we were still working on our stuff. For every guy, it was the same game plan, the same strategy, just modified. This is when we're going to do it like this. This is how we're going to do it on him. This is what I see that this guy's, what's wrong with this guy that you can take advantage of. So we get the game plan. We warmed them up. It's all good because we knew from that first experience of the last tournament that he was going to go up quickly. Even though everyone's like, we don't know when he's going to go up. We don't know. It's 45 minutes later. He's going up. All right, let's go. So he still has his hand wraps on. We didn't unwrap him. We just kind of worked on some stuff. And I was working my smooth hand combinations and movement. And I was telling him, hey, catch me here. Catch my legs here. Right? So that second fight starts, and I'm like, all right, he goes in. I don't know, Zach deviated from the game plan. He just ran in head first.
This is my favorite fight, by the way. The second fight was.
Yeah, he ran in head first. I don't know. It's sometimes when you're in the ring, you feel something from your opponent.
You just do it, yeah.
Yeah, you feel something like the energy or something. He just runs in and he throws a combination against this guy, and this guy throws a combination back, and they're exchanging combinations. in that first fight. And as I thought Zach's landing more kicks, the guy's landing a little bit more hands, not significant. Yeah. I know because it's a TBA, the way it's being scored.
Yeah.
That we're outscoring this guy.
For the way that tournament is.
Yeah, for 100%. 100%. We won that first round. I know because of how it's scored, right? Zach landed multiple kicks. Guy lands a few punches. Zach landing more kicks. And he's still landing his own punches, too. Mm-hmm. So
my teeps.
Your teeps were there all the time, every time interrupting his combination. So it was working like a charm. You know, so we're feeling the momentum go up, and I'm telling him like, yeah, all right, and, you know, try clinching him up in the second round, because you know he still has heavy hands. He's gonna come harder because he knows he might be behind, right? And sure enough, the guy's coming hard, and Zach's kind of taking over more now. Like it's just uphill.
He's feeling comfortable, a little too comfortable.
Yeah, I think he just made a miscalculation of something that we kind of talked about in training that like. To be careful of, and that's lunging in with the 2 feet off the air.
Yeah.
And which the guy was able to capitalize. He timed it, and I told you, I'm like, Zach's chin is strong, right? Before remember that, I was like,
how's his chin? You know,
I was like, no, he's solid. He's solid. He's gonna be able to take. Don't worry. But he lunged into the short right hook, caught him, put him down.
It's like a flash knockdown.
Yeah, it was a flash knockdown.
He's got wobbly.
I even think his legs are just like he hopped in.
Yeah.
You know, with all his weight coming in, he got caught by that little tight.
So
yeah, he was up before he fell down. Like his butt touched the ground, he just sprung up, right?
Yeah.
You know, and then so now I'm like, okay, now it's like a match that like it's in the balance now. It's like even if you won round 1 and you win and you lose round 2 and you win round 3 by decision. You know, it's a draw.
Yeah.
And you don't know how the judges are going to score.
They have to make a decision
dominance.
there. Well, because the head judge there makes the decision in a draw at the tournament.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Because it was a 10-9.
At USMTO, their protocol for it. Gotcha.
Yeah, so we weren't settling for a draw. I even told so Zach comes back in the corner after that one. I asked him, remember what I asked you?
I mean, he was just like there's something wrong with him. Like, do you feel his power? And my arrogant self, I'm like, nothing. I felt nothing. As I get dropped, you know.
What was actually happening in that moment?
You know, I honestly, because I don't know what it is, maybe just my personality, I was really like, I felt like nothing. Because I wanted to get it back. Long story short, the idea of me getting dropped and the fact that I got up that quick, I was like, that was me off balance. There's no way. If you hit me that hard, it would take me a while to get up, but I got up right away. So I just wanted it back.
Yeah, and you're telling me that your ear is ringing.
Yes. Well, here's the thing. I don't think I could hear my left ear, and I thought maybe I'm just so focused, you know, that like I couldn't hear on my left ear. So as he's talking to me, I'm like, I think about it. I'm like, I don't need to tell him this. Like I'm just lasered focused in.
Yeah.
And as like the round continues, like I was deaf out of my left ear for the first minute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, going into that too, this guy was fresh.
Yeah, no.
He had a bye in the first
round.
round.
I knew that as well because of the research and the way I saw the
brackets.
I kept following up the stuff like the brackets and like the opponents, and I knew he was fresh, but I didn't tell Zach. I'm like, we're fresh. We're going in there.
Yeah.
So we're fighting a fresh guy. Zach just did 3 rounds, so he's like in his 5th round when he got dropped. And believe it or not, like when you kick that much, as much as he had kicked in the first fight, like your legs are a little bit like, they're tired.
Yeah.
It's just how it is, but he went in that fight with the strength and conditioning that we'd already applied.
Yes, sir.
Getting ready for this event.
Those hill sprints.
Like I even told him I would out sprint him and touch his back and be like, dude, don't let me touch your back. And then by the end of our training, I couldn't get close to him. Like it was just like I was sprinting and I was huffing and puffing and I couldn't touch him,
Yeah.
So, like our training like that we did for that tournament and our diet as well. His diet was on point too.
You had a chef at the tournament.
At the facility. He was ready for anything. So it was all now like mental, like when the time came, when the window opened of opportunity, he came to me in that second round with the ear that had been rung. Yeah. And he came to me and I told him, hey, there's something wrong with that guy. I meant to say like he's tired, but I was like, hey, there's something wrong with that guy. Do you feel his power? He goes, no, nothing. He goes, no, nothing, like with so much energy. And then so I go like, hey, so he's only hitting you with one thing, Zach. one thing, the right hand.
That's it.
The power side. You can't get hit by that power side. I cursed at him a little bit. I lifted his arm up and I hit him a few times on that side. And I told him, hey, if you don't get hit by that anymore, you're going to win this fight. So next time he does that, you clinch him up and you knee him and you drop him. Yeah. And he goes, and if he throws a lot of punches, I again intercept him with that kick.
Yeah.
And man, it was like in slow motion. He went in there and like the guy just did the exact thing that I told Zach he was gonna do. He threw that right hand, he teeped him away, he came harder and he threw it even harder. And Zach just went like this. He kept his hand up.
Like slow-mo.
Yeah, like, oh man.
Oh, that's nothing.
And I was like, as soon as I saw his hand up there, I was like, he got him. He's done.
Yeah.
He came in too aggressive.
Yeah.
He got teeped. He's winded probably a little bit. And he's wasting a lot of energy with that power shot. So when we went like this and he clinched him up, he shot that knee, dropped the guy. It was just like, you know. And
the guy did get back up too.
He did. He was tough. He was good. He was strong guy.
That knockdown though.
Hey,
what's up?
Zach can tell
I'm
you.
just saying that one little thing that I did that helped in the last match was just basically little techniques I need to work on, and we talked about it. Just basically, it's crazy how the smallest of things, like bring your hip out, can bring more damage to your knees. And I just kind of threw it in there, not with as much finesse as we know we could. And that's why I feel like the third match, I made that adjustment, and it really, it did what you saw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you ended up winning because of that. So 10-8 round. Yeah. Right. So that got you the judge's nod on that.
Right.
Essentially, right? So then you go into the finals. And another guy who had a bye, and he had an early TKO in his first fight, right? A liver shot, so it's not like really much to like go on. So tell me what happened in finals fight.
In the finals fight. Well, real quick, I want to just end that other fight with this. After that third round, I was so ready. Our just conditioning was so good. I was like, one more. We're 1-1. Like, to me, in my mind, I'm like, we're 1-1, and I want to make it 2-1 in my favor.
Yeah.
And I think that just brought me a lot of confidence for the next fight, because the fact that I had energy after all those 3 rounds and walking away with no blood on my face, I was like, man, I can go again. So if anything, I feel like I could have taken that fight on Saturday. I could have taken it maybe even that Friday. I don't know. Let's not go too ahead of myself. But let's just say, though, that gave me a lot of confidence. So the full day of rest on Saturday was super nice. And Sunday for that match, it was honestly harder for the build-up than the fight itself. Just in the sense that we got the experience of fighting right away in the morning. And then for this fight, it was like all the way up until 3 p.m. I remember by the time that it was around like 1:30 and we were already inside where the rings were. Once you enter the rings and you get your gloves signed off, you cannot exit. So I'm just kind of waiting there, and they're calling out. I'm number 1106, and they're going 1102, 1103. I'm like, okay, I'm coming up next. And then it goes 74, 75. I'm like, okay, what's the order? It's like I'm at the DMV. And I was just so confused. And I was kind of getting a little distracted, you could say, in the sense that I was just kind of enjoying the fights. I was like, okay, I don't know how much time it's going to be. But Kru Ed looked at me and he said, hey, listen, I see that you're watching the fights, but just focus on what you're going to do. Focus on your game plan. You know, this is your day. You know, this is your belt. Take what's yours. Yeah. And I just got back into the zone, and I was just like thinking of all the things, all the plans that I had. And it sounds kind of crazy saying this out loud, but I had a lot of plans for this guy, like a lot of plans, just because we had so much time to think and we had so much game planning. Yeah. So once I stepped in there, I got to execute a couple of them, and of course, with that clinch, once I felt that dominance with the just the inside position, and also with hipping out. Feeling all that motion, like I felt pretty strong. And there were some body shots he was throwing back at me. That's when I knew, okay, I need to throw these knees now, before he realized body shots do nothing with your hands when you're in the clinch, you know? Yeah. And once I executed that, again, I got to learn from the second match about how I needed to make adjustments with my technique. I made that adjustment, and that knee felt like it was like a knife through butter. It was
double tapped the liver with the knee.
Yep.
And then he threw a knee on the way down. Luckily, it didn't hit him in the face.
Yes.
Hit him in the chest.
Yes. Yeah.
And but it started with the head kick though.
It did. Yes.
And
that
you were like, did you see the head kick? I'm like, dude, I saw the knees. Like,
yeah.
Head kick is nice, Zach, with the knees.
Right. Oh man. Yeah. It's funny because I think that's why. Because the knees I didn't quite feel as much. With the head kick, you feel, and you're just like
you feel the shin crack the head.
Yeah, and you're just like, oh dang, I brought my leg up there, you know. And he's a little bit taller than me, it seemed like, as well. So even when I landed those knees, because the second one that hit him in the liver pretty hard, that just felt so smooth. I I was like wondering almost what happened. Because even with that last knee that hit him on the way down, I could feel his sternum. But again, it was the liver. It was the liver that got taken out.
Shout out to Flying Dom over on TikTok. He said, yo, the winning podcast, been listening for a bit now. Your little audiobook kind of thing was very helpful. Awesome. I'm glad you found the book helpful. If you like the book, you can go order it as well, preparing for your first Muay Thai fight.
Yeah.
I know Zach uses some of that as
I
reference.
did. I read it, and I stuck to it. Because honestly, when it comes to training, if you stick to what the book says in terms of training, it gives you a lot of confidence stepping into the fight. Just knowing in your mind, oh, this guy's probably not doing the same routine as me every day, you know?
Yeah, he's not.
It gives a lot of confidence.
So, one tournament, brought back to Ventura. Got to get, getting ready for the next one.
Oh, yeah.
Anything you want to say to anybody out there, guys?
Shoot, I mean, it's a long list. I think first and foremost, like the people that have been there with me, thank you guys. Appreciate you guys. And just like when it comes to just the Muay Thai community, thank you everybody who's watching. You're helping build the sport, and it's giving more guys like myself opportunities to be involved. And then the team here, because I would not have been as ready as I was if I did not have the sparring partners that I had. So I'm not going to name you guys because there's too many. I could name all of you. But that really, I feel like, is what gave me the confidence to step into these matches. Because I thought as well, the guys I'm going against, I'm like, they're not as good as my coaches. They're not as good as the guys that I spar. And I was like, I'm prepared for this, and I'm ready to just take it level up. So as I come back and I strengthen my guys, we just sharpen each other, and we make the competition easier.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Kru Ed?
Oh, yeah, it was a fun weekend for sure, winning like that and, coming back here and starting like with a lot of energy, bringing it to the academy. And, we kept it going. We had the kids compete the next weekend. So, not really taking a break, but positive energy. Like we're very excited to be that first competition in San Diego
for
with
these
kids. Yeah. So that was a lot of fun. And, thank you guys for listening, and thank you for hearing me kind of just ramble.
You did ramble, man. We were directed, right, but cool. Thank you everybody that's listening out there. Go follow us at Pu'u Muay Thai. Links down in the show notes if you're on YouTube, just down below. Okay. Also, if you're listening to this on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all the major podcasting platforms, make sure to leave a review, hit the subscribe button. If you have questions you want to add in on the podcast, go podcast.puumuaythai.com. That link is also down in the show notes. Post these guys, post some podcast clips, all that stuff on there. And thank you guys. Have a good day, man.
Cool. Thank you.
All right. That's going to be it for today. Thank you so much for tuning in today to the Pu'u Muay Thai Podcast. If you enjoy the content, go leave a review over on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. Give us a rating. It means the world to us. Also, if you want to be a guest on the Pu'u Muay Thai Podcast, or if you just want to shout out to your friend, go check us out at podcast.puumuaythai.com. You can submit to be able to be a guest on the podcast. You can submit what you want to talk about. Also, if you want to just give a shout out, there's a button for that too. Sawadee Kop.